the moment you can see the graphic design side as well as the fine art side, and both of them have kind of been going forward in terms of, you know, success. I think I'll eventually reach a point where I might have to choose which one, and I don't want to think about that too much because I don't want to give up one for the other.
So where are you going to live? I mean, or spend most of your time? In Asia or in Europe?
Initially, I think a start in London would be quite good for me because London's a very international city and there's just people from all over the world there, and it's a good center of art and design. But I don't think I'd ever be able to settle in one place for
because you need to
forever.
Because you need to travel around to pick up ideas, you know, from different parts of the world.
In terms of inspiration, it's a big thing for me that I just need to keep going to different places that aren't familiar and just try to understand them, like I've been doing since I was little. You know, being thrown into a place which is completely different, and you know, what do? You just have to adapt to it and find your way, create your home in that place. Yeah, I think I just have to keep doing that. That not only is it essential, I think, for my inspiration, but also a big part of who I am, that I want to keep, you know, travel around the world.
Do you follow any particular models or great artists, or you want, you know, to create your own path?
I've been resisting copying artists outright or taking inspiration too heavily from a certain artist, and I think
certainly,
so
you know, who have the most influence on you?
Well, I lived in India. Of all the countries I've lived in the longest, maybe almost 10 years. So I think there's one contemporary artist, the Guru I mentioned earlier, who is a contemporary Indian artist, and he's had the most influence on me in terms of style. He has some works that are very similar to the Radiant Mandala I did.
Do you consider yourself, you know, as a bridge between the two great civilizations?
Yes, I think one of the Czech art critics who's very fascinated by Southeast Asian cultures, he captured that in his review of me and my work, that I am the bridge between the East and West, and you know, my art speaks of great coexistence and harmony. So I think it's a two cultural exchange.
Are you going to create any works, you know, based on the Thai theme?
Well, I think the Lotus one was very inspired by Thailand. That because I've lived here now, well, my family's lived here for 1.5 years, and this has been the main place where I've been returning to see them. So it's again a bit different from everything else I've done. And in terms of color, I mean, you can see a little bit, you know, golds and purples, and you see little memories of, you know, the color of orchids or something.
Normally, how long does it take you to come up with an idea and to really finish it?
Some ideas come very easily, and I can get a painting done in, you know, a few days. I did 3 very large paintings, which are about 2.5 meters by almost 1.5, and I did those within 2 weeks, which was a bit of, I think that's the shortest amount of time that I could have done such massive works in. But everything has its own time. I can't force it. I've come into situations where I know I have to work because I have a deadline or something, or I feel like I need to finish it. But if I just keep pushing, I risk ruining what I've done. That if I don't have any genuine inspiration behind it, then it just, I could ruin all the good things about the painting.
In the Czech, they have done a documentary on you as part of the series of promising artists.
Yes, I was chosen as one of 5 young, talented Czech people of 2010, and it was a very yes. I mean, again, it was one of those surprise moments where it was like, really? I'm very honored by these things, but it still surprises me so much. It was a year-long process, really, from the beginning when I applied to it and had to go through some interviews and so on, and then we filmed. The filming started in the summer in the United Kingdom at my university, and then in Prague during my exhibition there, which was actually opened by the Thai ambassador, and the Czech ambassador here therefore wanted to do the exhibition here in Thailand as a bit of an exchange. And then we filmed in India as well, and only now is the documentary process coming to an end, and it will hopefully air in the next month.
Explain to me about the Czech Republic. What should come to mind, you know, when we refer to that country? I mean, in terms of the culture or the heritage.
Well, that's something I've been trying to explore for myself as someone who's been questioning, you know, to what degree am I actually Czech? Do I fall into that category, and is it also a home for me? I think Prague itself has always had a big influence on me, that it's a very beautiful city in terms of it displays many different architectural styles through the years in one very central location. So I think it's very unique in that sense, that usually you have to go, you know, very far to get that kind of variety and diversity. But I've always learned about the Czech Republic, about my own background, the history of the country, just from, you know, my own exploration. It hasn't been covered in international schools because I'm a bit of a tourist when I return there, to be honest.
Do you think the public interest in contemporary arts is growing, or is it still expanding?
I think if you watch the news, sometimes it's overwhelmingly negative, the type of things that come up, you know, economic crisis and wars and death and everything. So I think art and kind of culture in general is a bright beacon amongst all that, and I think that's what attracts people more and more to art, especially contemporary art, that they can reflect on something else for a while.
Do you think that contemporary arts is now reflecting what's going on about the world's problem?
Yeah, surely, to a degree.
Because Europe, I think many developed countries are going through bitter financial and economic crisis. Do you think that the role of arts should also reflect that?
Yeah, most surely. I think artists are very good at picking up all the different perspectives. And but I mean, my style, I think of myself as quite a optimistic, positive person, and I think that comes through in my art. But so I don't really explore those kind of problems in my art per se.
Ladi, after this Bangkok exhibition, what's next?
Well, in a few days I'll be returning to London to do my master's in graphic design for the next year, and my exhibition, all my paintings, will be traveling back to Phuket with my family where we live.
You have enough space to hold all of them?
Unfortunately, that's going to be quite a challenge. Yeah, we don't know how we're going to store all of them, really. We need a bigger house maybe. But we're exploring maybe some upcoming exhibitions. I mean, there's nothing definite yet, but we're still seeing if there's going to be anything available.
Ladi, what's going to happen to you 5 or 10 years from now in terms of your artistic development? How are you going to evolve?
Looking into the future like that is quite difficult, because just through my life I've always learned to take things quite slowly, that you have to adapt to everything along the way, and because there's all these changes, there's constantly being changes for me. So I've learned to kind of take things as they come and react to them appropriately. But hopefully I'd like to get a graphic design job in London to start off, and maybe work for a company that will have offices in Southeast Asia, and return here again. And maybe, most of all though, I hope that I won't need to give up painting for good.
Our time is up. Thank you very much, Ladi, for joining our program. That's it for Inside Asia. I hope you enjoy our programs, and we're looking forward to seeing Ladi's exhibitions, you know, when the future comes. Good evening. สวัสดีครับ